welcome back to the Willie Bragg Show. I'm Willie Bragg. I'm the guy that always comes in here in like the most random moments to do a live stream. Part of it, as I said, is just total fatigue. I am overworked right now, and I'm going to do a quick stream tonight. Let me take care of that little splotch off the screen there. Okay, I'm doing a quick stream tonight, and about the two perspectives of Nick Cruse from RBN versus Vaush when it comes to AOC, because um, they both have very opposite views that came out of, I guess you could call it the same movement initially, where there is a fork on the road, so to speak. And I just want to go and basically stress things that some of us already do know, and some things that maybe a perspective that maybe I may have missed out on, whatever is being said on the chat line or whatever I have to offer. So before I do, let's get started with the chats online. I see Warren there. How are you doing, Warren? How are you doing, Miguel? And as I said initially, it's been a few days. So that's being said, let's see what we have here. Thank you, Miguel. Yeah, thank you for the intro music. I try to give it the right mood and all of that. And ironically, Mantis, I did brush my teeth just moments before I started getting on the computer, so that was accomplished right there. So, and thanks again. Yeah, about the best music. I try to keep the vibe going. Yeah. Where are all the broads? I mean, um, I well, hopefully they'll be here. A sausage fest. I mean, how dare somebody assume my gender? So anyway, I am back online here, so I want to go ahead and I'll go ahead and I see Matt John from New Mexico. Greetings. I'm over here in the East Coast and the in North Carolina. Let's see here. See, that's where I came from. That's where I came from. Said Desert Man says Vivek is wearing a flag lapel pin for the Jimmy Dore show. Oh, is he on the Jimmy Dore show? I'll have to go and take a look at that. Let's see. All right. Yeah, yeah. How dare you? Says Greta Thunberg. So, anyway, let's get to the subject at hand. Nick Cruse and Vaush have conflicting perspectives on AOC, and I assume that y'all, every one of y'all, are where I was at back in 2018. That we thought she was, we thought she was one of the best things coming around in the country right now, or in the height of this Trump right wing tsunami that was hitting this country, and with a populism that was needed, that Bernie Sanders was actually yelping about. It's too bad that I have a different view on Bernie today than I did back then, but she was sort of an extension of that Bernie movement right there, electorally speaking, and she toppled a conservative Democrat, Joe Connell, what was it? Joe something. I forgot the name of the congressman. She defeated but anyway, she defeated an incumbent Democrat. Damn, what was his name? Anyway, it doesn't matter. She defeated a corporate Democrat that was close to Nancy Pelosi, and we thought that she was spearheading a new movement, a party within a party, what became known as the Squad. And the Squad is a little bit bigger than it was in 2018, but they had nothing to show for it. Nothing. They are such a disappointment. They were such a disappointment that my independent part-time working within the Democratic Party days became over, and I am strictly just 100% independent political action all the way, because you just can't depend on the Democrats who promise you just the bare minimum and then they don't deliver. It's not that they promise you everything. They don't promise you the sky. They promise you the bare minimum. And then when push comes to shove, they don't deliver on that bare minimum. Very very disappointing. So let's start with Nick Cruse's take, and I will discuss it. Then we'll discuss Vaush's take in a few moments. So let's go ahead and start right now. Give me a second here. Scroll right there in the beginning. Okay, good. Come on, Nick.
AOC had a much bigger problem with Bernie Bros than we thought. Brian Grimm has a book called AOC and a Hope for a Political Revolution. AOC in the book complains about how toxic Bernie Bros are and complains about an overall misogyny problem on the left. I'm willing to support Nazis in Ukraine, but men who want health care in my country is where I draw the line. And it's a very interesting claim by AOC, considering she threw Me Too under the bus and voted for Tara Reade's rapist and refused to say a word about it. According to AOC, the only worthy rape victims are the rape victims that don't inconvenience the Democratic Party. Tell me more about how I'm the misogynist Bernie bro, though, AOC. This exposes how AOC was always a shit-lib at her core. AOC hates the people that she claims she fights for. The entire time, AOC hated organizing and being around the uneducated, misogynistic, poor people. The job of AOC, just as Democrats in the boutique left, is to make left-wing politics as unappealing as possible. That's why AOC in the professional managerial class left tries to tie anti-capitalism with liberal, woke identity politics. And this politics of AOC is exactly why she has an approval rating that is lower than Kamala Harris. The PMC class, like AOC and Ryan Grimm, who wrote this ridiculous book, is here to lead workers off a cliff, and left-wing movements need to avoid them at all costs.
I was murdered. You were murdered. Okay, you obviously weren't murdered because you're alive and you're basically intact. You weren't murdered by...
Okay, all right. Now, where was the lie in Nick Cruse's commentary on AOC? None that I could tell right there. Pretty much, just like Matt John says. Matt John says, Nick Cruse is a truth bomber, and he's telling the damn truth. Even if you're still going to rely on the Democratic Party just to go and put a stop to the orange boogeyman, in the words of Kit Cavello from Heartlands Media, how in the world can somebody look at AOC in the year 2023 and think she's going to lead a revolution? She's shown time and time again that she's basically, she couldn't fight her way out of a wet paper bag. I mean, she's emotional, and she cares more about deplatforming Tucker Carlson. And I have my negative views on Tucker Carlson, okay? But she cares more passionately about deplatforming Tucker Carlson than she does forcing the Democratic leadership into enacting Medicare for all. I mean, she goes and lectures about the CARES Act, about all the corporate welfare, and she was right about all that corporate welfare. But at the same time, she's correct. She went and voted against the fucking thing. So, and she's just been one huge disappointment after the other. She'll go and passionately talk about a bill or take a passionate position on it, and then do the opposite. the Iron Dome, for example. We all remember the Iron Dome, where she voted for it. Then Nancy Pelosi did a Karen on her and scolded her like she was a kindergarten teacher against a bully child, and just peck her to death. And then she changed her votes. She votes to send money to the Ukraine, which indirectly funds neo-Nazis, Azov Battalion. I mean, this is, and then she votes to bust a rail worker strike last year. She voted against a Bernie Sanders bill that was sponsored in the U.S. Senate that was actually kind of decent, that would provide 7 sick-day leave for workers. And then she goes and vote against that. She's a corporate Democrat. She's the new Nancy Pelosi. I mean, the AOC is a huge disappointment, and there is no reason on God's green earth why I should consider her any sort of comrade in the struggle right there. Anybody who tells me that I'm right wing for criticizing AOC, just listen to what I just said. Just listen to what I just said, and contrast that with what she's actually done. Compare, contrast that what she actually done, which was absolutely, as far as I was concerned, less than nothing. So what I'm going to do right now, we're going to go and play Vaush, and just a little bit of Vaush. It's called AOC Rails Against the Toxic Online Left. And before I get a chance to miss out on this, she collaborated with Ryan Grimm, but I don't like to call him Ryan Grimm. I prefer to call him Ryan Grimjob. That's as far as I'm concerned, because he's a weenie if there ever was one. So, okay, hold on a second here. We'll get it ready. Are y'all ready for some Vaush? I'm sorry I have to subject you to Vaush, but here we go. Is to compare or contrast Nick Cruse's words with Vaush Limbaugh's words. So hold tight.
The new AOC book is wild. She was aware of how bad the online left is. In Ryan Grimm's book, The Squad, AOC explains how she felt the left abandoned her and then tried to take credit for her political career and how toxic she feels the online left is. Oh, shit. We got the expose, the Ryan Grimm expose. I saw this guy in D.C. Her second term, as she faced increasingly vitriolic criticism from elements of the left, had been a low point for her, Ocasio-Cortez told me. That time really forced me to kind of sit with who my base was, she said, because for a while it did not feel like the left. Like I was left, but the left didn't really support me. It felt more like a relationship of convenience. And the moment I stopped being as useful, I'd be dumped. And you can't...
AOC, being left means actually standing up against the Democratic leadership. They're America's other conservative party. You yourself, AOC, have said that you and Joe Biden would be in different political parties than any other country. And if you were the AOC that you want people to think you are, you would be correct. So then you turn around and you lash out against the people who hold your feet to the fire.
A movement build with your most fickle supporters. True. I asked what she meant and whether she had found a better base of supporters. I don't think it was a better base, but more figuring out who my base actually was, /is, she said. Like, as much as I love them, I did not win my election because of DSA or even JD or any of those orgs. They all either abandoned, ignored, or fought with me and then swooped in at the last moment when I busted my whole ass for a long time to become even remotely viable, sorry.
Not really. The Justice Democrats basically created the AOC persona. DSA were backing her. She was a member of DSA, still is a member of DSA. And if one must rely on DSA in any sort of way, I would be in agreement with Kashama Sawant that it would be in DSA's best interest to expel AOC and the other members of the squad for busting the rail strike. I'm sorry, if that makes me a sectarian fuck, that's going to make me a sectarian fuck. But busting a rail strike can't even do something as basic as stand for unions when even on this volatile issues as kind of anti-union as a lot of the normie America is, they have a relationship with the they have a relationship with with the notion of the whole idea of the railroads in America. So there's going to be some affinity, believe it or not, even from people who are usually critics toward unions. And AOC couldn't even take advantage of that. Oh, when she did that, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I have more to say in just a second. I have to close this door, but I'll let y'all listen to Vaush.
Sorry. Because she had spent so much time being called a puppet, she seems to have written the hell. Okay. This is one of the reasons why, like, I can't get along with many people in the online left. It's because there's so much clout to be had from performatively distancing yourself from anything even remotely tied to like pragmatic activism and all the sacrifice and concessions that it requires, that they can.
Okay, Vaush, here's the thing. What has been done other than a non-presence of an orange boogeyman in the White House? What has been done in the last 3 years, approaching 3 years now? I see next to nothing. I see next to nothing. I was almost convinced by some people on the left that were like, well, we got to settle for Biden. I almost did that, but I voted for a third party as I normally did. But I was hoping for some kind of at least a $15 hour minimum wage. We haven't even gotten that. We haven't gotten a public option. There's no Build Back Better. There's nothing. We just got more of the same. More war, more attack on workers. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, that is pretty much what we've gotten. We've gotten more of the same. And then, the Disinformation Governance Board, which is an assault on free speech. I mean, all this shit. I mean, why the hell? Should I go and reward Joe Biden with my vote? I have not seen the country shift further left under Biden in any meaningful way. Not one bit. I know there are Republicans and right-leaning people say, oh, well, the country has shifted so far to the left. And I have to ask those motherfuckers, where's the universal health care? Where's the more unions around? Where's the free college at? I mean, where's some of these basic things? Where's it at? Where's prescription drug reform? Any meaningful one? There was some kind of shallow package that was, as I said, just shallow. I mean, where was all this shit? Nowhere to be seen. But the Vaush wants us to go and reward the shit libs and call them our friends, because he's basically a glorified radical that wants to make people think he's this badass radical leftist. He sounds smart and articulate, and he sometimes is correct on some basic things. I mean, for example, I did side with him over Anna Kasparian, over the whole trans issue that they were having, that little squabble they were having, because, Anna Kasparian is a TERF, and she tried to pretend like Vaush is some kind of transphobe. I'll give Vaush credit. He's not that. But, honestly, all he knows how to do is to go and virtue signal, and that is all we ever get from him, and lectures on how we should go and cooperate with conservative Democrats. No, thank you, Vaush. I'm not going to do that. I would never work with right-wing Republicans, but I'm never going to work with the softer right-wing elements called the Democratic Party.
Can never actually stick to anything, anything. Like Bernie's being super cringe right now with the ceasefire stuff. I acknowledge that. However, like, there were a ton of people on the left who disavowed Bernie because he endorsed Biden. What are you doing? Like you genuinely will never, ever, ever be able to find any kind of like camaraderie in a political figure if these are the standards by which
Biden, Vaush, these are reasonable standards, not unrealistic, super sectarian standards. We didn't go, well, I didn't vote for Biden, but the left who did vote for Biden didn't vote for him with the expectations that we were going to have, a workers' revolution, and we would become some sort of anarcho-syndicalist utopia. We didn't think that. None of us did. Nobody on the left thought that. At the best, they thought that simply Biden not being Trump, that there would be some crumbs thrown in our direction. The only crumbs that were thrown in the direction is what you get from any typical Democrat in the White House. Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. You know, maybe a little virtue signal here, a virtue signal there. And that's all you get. You get just symbolism, a little bit of symbolism that doesn't cost any money, but it doesn't, be sure to satisfy a couple liberal lemmings that wants to follow the leader, and that's all it is. And I'm glad that the left is finally, I am afraid some of them many of them are going to go back to voting for Biden, but I'm glad that a lot of lefties are sitting there saying Biden is a disappointment, because he is a fucking disappointment. The Democratic Party is a disappointment. I mean, they promise very little, and then even that very little they promise, they don't deliver. I have seen it over and over and over again since the 1990s. I have seen it over and over again. I knew what to expect, and as usual, I'm correct about a lot of this shit. I wanted to be wrong. I'd rather that you be correct about these things, Vaush, but no, it didn't happen. I was correct. I was correct when Force the Vote came along, and people like myself supported Force the Vote, over, someone like yourself, Vaush, who was opposed to it. Because where the fuck is our Medicare for all? Where the fuck is the public option? Where the fuck is any meaningful prescription drug reform? No. We must look united against Orange Man. And that was the thing. You discouraged Medicare for all marches, general strikes. Yeah, we don't want to go make the Democrats feel uncomfortable, do we?
Which you hold them. Does it not like signal to anyone a little bit of weirdness, or a little bit of, I don't know, strategic incompetence, that there are neo-Nazis in the United States who can go, yeah, okay, so these Republican neocons aren't exactly fully on our side, but we can still weaponize their movement and use them to our ends. Meanwhile, you have people like Bernie Sanders who are in office as senators, longtime senators, and there are lefties in this country who are like, nope, can't work with them, nope,
No, Vaush. I mean, I get what you're saying. It is true. White nationalists will probably go and vote for George W. Bush, a John McCain, a Mitt Romney type to out of pragmatism or what have you. You're right about that. But you know what? What you said there is fundamentally wrong. The third party movement is weak. You're comparing apples and oranges. The third party movement is weak. And at the end of the day, people will go and reject independent politics and go back to lesser evilism. More people on the left goes and votes for the Democrats more than you realize. They in fact, if anything, until this situation with Israel happened with Gaza, the lefties, even a lot of decent lefties, were like, "Well, we got to keep our faith in Biden," and they were doing that song and dance, and a lot of them are kind of like, well, I don't know, but they're going to go back to voting for Biden. Or whomever the Democrats chooses, because it's not a foregone conclusion that the Democrats will stick with Biden by the summer. It's possible that he may pull a Lyndon Johnson and decide not to run again for re-election, or be encouraged not to run again for re-election. This is probably what I'm guessing is going to be the case. So we don't know what bag of tricks that the Democrats have as far as replacing Biden, because if Biden is replaced, Kamala Harris will also be replaced, especially if Gavin Newsom is the nominee. And I think that the Democrats probably do want Gavin Newsom more than anything else. And that man's a disappointment too. I'll continue a little more of this, and then with some final thoughts and all that. So here we go.
He endorsed Biden. Like, it's just, there is so much clout, and I swear to God, this is all like psyop shit. This is all like the federal agents in our community. They have smeared on all door handles the chemical that makes leftists virtue signal by gatekeeping political association behind like ideological purity. I think people forget AOC beat an establishment Dem in New York 14-2. Yeah, not only will we never know like all the pressures they're subjected to, because they're literally, politicians, they know stuff that we don't know, obviously.
That's true. I won't disagree that maybe the squad have to deal with things that we don't realize. I'll give you that, but that doesn't excuse their constant inaction, where they need to go and show a little more backbone, and they don't. They don't. And same thing applies to the House Progressive Caucus. They became absolutely worthless when they admitted Chantel Brown in the Progressive Caucus when she belonged to the New Democrat Network, I believe is what it's called, the Coalition of Conservative Democrats. So, the House Progressive Caucus became just basically shut at that point. Fuck the House Progressive Caucus.
But also, like, they're the best we have, and that's all you'll ever get. You're never going to get any kind of leadership that isn't the best we have. You're lucky to get the best we have. That's all you can ever get. That's the best it gets. That's why it's called the best we have. So if we have the best we have, if you're going after, like, the
best we have can do better. You ever thought about that?
10 Justice Dems or whatever, as opposed to everyone else, like, you can be disappointed, but the people who are pretending that, like, go campaign for whoever you want. You're never going to find a politician who's going to hold up to all the standards the online left sets for them. Online leftists unironically have made her more liberal. She is finding more of a base in libs. Yep, because the online left, because it's retarded, because it's filled with children, emotional children who don't know anything, think,
whoa, you think that corporate shit lib Dems are mature and well reasoned? What kind of a bread tube streamer are you, Vaush? What kind of a bread tube streamer are you?
Oh, yeah, by demonstrating that we're impossible to please and incredibly fickle, we'll actually make politicians lean more on us.
No, I don't accept that, Vaush. The left is way more pragmatic than what you claim they are. In fact, I kind of think they're way too pragmatic.
For some reason. Because that's how that works, Instead, the only reliable base of support that you can actually, like, trust is liberals, because liberals actually have consistent, allegiance to politicians in terms.
Liberals became a worthless label. Oh, I would say by the time of Walter Mondale being defeated in 1984. I mean, Walter Mondale was the last Democrat that was actually pretty decent to run for office. He wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but he was pro-union, pro-Medicare for all. They call it national health insurance back then, and he had a fairly pro-peace foreign policy. Basically, no more manufacturing of nuclear weapons and chemical biological weapons to completely put a halt to that. That was what I believe that was in the Democratic platform in the 1984 election, to actually put a freeze on nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons. That was a pretty big deal. I don't think we can get Democrats to do that today. They're so busy wanting war in Russia, Ukraine, wanting to support Israel's ethnic mowing of the Gaza, and they also want to start a war with Yemen. I mean, it's like the problem with the Democratic Party is that when the Democratic Leadership Council came about and they Reaganized the Democratic Party in the 1990s, what ends up happening with people like Vaush, his flawed argument, is it's just the Democrats and it's just the overall left further to the right. It doesn't push the Democrats to the left. It doesn't pull the Republicans to the center. It actually shifts the country further and further to the right. And in the words of Jimmy Dore, he says, I'm paraphrasing him, I don't support Republicans. I don't criticize Democrats because I support Republicans. I criticize Democrats because they support Republicans. But you will never see it that way, Vaush. You just will never see it that way. And the liberals will go and shift the country further right. And if you don't go along with them, they will call you a right-winger. Even though you're to their left, they'll call you a racist, sexist, misogynist, homophobic, transphobic, piece of shit. That's what they'll do. And they'll go weaponize identity politics in a negative way to go and attack the real left. And that's where we're at with assholes like Vaush. I mean, Vaush talked about about infiltration in the left, whatever. Now I don't go with the conspiracy theory that Vaush is some kind of like the CIA's infiltrated and paying Vaush to go and to neuter the left or what have you. I think these are legitimately his positions. Unfortunately, I just think it is. I know the left well enough that where the divide is constant and all of that, and where there's the two factions of the left that can't meet halfway, and they're going to go and clash. And if we're not going to get nice things in this country, we're going to get nice things. We should get nice things, not get nice things by fighting, not by sitting there and being cocksuckers for the corporate Democrats, which ends up making the left being indirectly cocksuckers for the Republicans. And that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. The Democrats rather treat the Republicans kindly than they do the left. The left just gets shit on by everybody in this country. And why do we get shit on? Because we're on the side of history that is good and that's positive. And they hate that. And that's what it comes down to. The only critique of AOC that is valid, Vaush, is critique of AOC from the left. There's no other critique. Same thing with the Democrats. The only critique of the Democrats that's actually valid is a critique from the left, not from the right, not from the center, but from the left. The center and the right, they're full of shit. So, okay, so I just pretty much got this out of my chest like I wanted to. So let's go ahead and talk to everybody here on the chat line, the people I didn't get a chance to talk to on the chat line. Well, we will conclude with this show here. So for the evening. All right, let me scroll back up here a little bit. Let's see. Okay, hold on a second. All right. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. All right, right here we are. Okay. I like this. In 2018, I thought AOC was the best bartender in Queens. Even Kyle Kalinske, who is a disappointment these days, when he talks about AOC, you can tell that he's a little bit disappointed with her, and he knows he's on the wrong side. I mean, you can kind of tell, But Kyle, if Kyle wants to go and frolic around with the TYT Sam Cedar faction of the online left, that's his prerogative too. So. She's good. She fooled a lot of people, but not everybody. I heard folks skeptical when she got elected, but you get caught up and your brain stops working. Russell Dobular says something similar to that from Due Dissonance. Let's see. Vivek Obama Swami. That's funny. That's actually pretty funny. Okay, let's see what we got here. Scrolling down. Okay. All right. Let's see. Gamer for Life is here. Okay. Hey, Gamer, how are you doing today? Let's see. Yeah, Jimmy is going to have on Vivek, and I'm going to skip Jimmy today. Well, we can. I didn't think about that, but we'll be able to watch it later on. I know I will. Let's see. All right. Warren always has something interesting to say. Gamer, I'm watching this, but I peeked on Jimmy and Vivek. He's straight up Zionist Israel supporter. Fuck that guy. Of course, Vivek is going to be. I mean, he's going. He says just enough to tease people, but he also said just enough to get the supports of the neocons. And he's going to get the support of the neocons if he gets the nomination, and he's going to acquiesce to their demands. Donald Trump did. Let's see. Vaush, yeah, he can be kind of, Vaush can be kind of, cringe at times. Only thing I would say about Vaush, and I think we have a divided opinions on Shoe on Head. I like Shoe on Head, and he defends her. So I'll give him that. Referring to Vaush as a Democratic Party tool, absolutely. We have here ACAB includes ICE and Border Patrol. Hi, everybody. Hi, how are you doing today? Okay, let's see here. Oh, let's see. Very profound. Well, poor me. I fucked over everyone who voted for me, and now they hate me. Okay? AOC. That's her in a nutshell. Really, that is her in a nutshell. All right, let's see here. All right. Earl, I haven't talked to you since this morning on Harlan's Media. How are you doing? Vivek is joking. Well, I the only thing I like about Vivek Ramaswamy, the only thing I like about him is he puts Namarata Ranhadwa, that's Nikki Haley, in her place quite a bit because she's such a Karen, neocon Karen. She's so obnoxious. I was listening to Onion Nuggets, which is Amazing Atheist, Acing Atheist, his brother Scotty and Paul, who do the Deep Fat Fried podcast. They were talking about how Chris Christie white knighted Nikki Haley the other day, and Amazing Atheist said, yeah, he wants to go. This is Amazing Atheist saying it. He's like, yeah, Chris Christie wants to eat out Nikki Haley's pussy. And I busted out laughing when he said that. So any ladies on the chat, I'm not a misogynist. It's just funny how the Amazing Atheist said what he just said. So let's see. Alexandria Obama Cortez. Yep, that's pretty much true too. The other AOC is let's see, oh gosh, what's his name? Obama's billionaire backer. It starts with an A. I think of his name at the moment. That guy. I would made an initial for him. I can't think of his name. I'll mention it later on. So. Let's see what we have here. I have to go in a short moment, but I just thought I'd talk to you all tonight, and I don't see any new people here. So, oh yes, I do. Yeah. How are you doing, PHX Cisco? Yeah, I saw that. Let's see, anybody else here? Yep. Another opportunistic careerist is good enough for me. That is correct. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, I'm going to go and sign off very shortly. Going to say that right now, Braglands is kind of on hiatus till after the holidays. So hopefully we'll be back. There's not going to be any Braglands this Friday, but we'll be back after the holidays. So there is that. Any other announcements going on right now? Can't think of anything other than say, if you like what you heard, please press like and comment and share what we have here on this program, the Willie Bragg Show. Also, subscribe to this channel. And I say this as a First Amendment absolutist, because as a First Amendment absolutist, I'm going to tell you that we're all the muckrakers of our time. So we need to increase as many voices, independent voices out there as possible. And as I said, please subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show here on YouTube, Twitch, Rumble. I haven't been doing a lot on Rumble lately because it's kind of a chore to take care of, but I need to get back to doing that. And remember to reject corporate media, to reject the neocon wars, to free Palestine, and to free Julian Assange and all the other good things that we need to do. So until next time, I am Willie Bragg. I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.